Coming up on the Paper Talk today, Anthony to Real Betis. We've had a here we go. He's a done deal. He's leaving Manchester United, and let's be honest, it's probably for the best. Is Jadon Sancho going to be heading out the exit door as well? He's been linked with a move to Aston Villa. Also, what is going on with the goalkeeper front? Is it going to be Emi Martinez? Is it going to be Sen Lemens? Let's get into it. Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and the weather, it's mild with a bit of wind. You probably won't need your Parkers. Loads of stories to get into, so we'll crack on. A lot of them focusing on the fact it is deadline day. It is all happening. Manchester United are expected to do quite a bit of business today, or at least some business today, and we've already done some on deadline day. Anthony has been confirmed is going to Real Betis. It is a permanent move. I think it's around €25 million plus 50% sell-on fee as well. There is no fee for Manchester United. We're not covering anything in terms of us paying Real Betis or us paying Anthony anything. I think there was some rumours that United would have to pay him to leave. That is not happening. We've had it confirmed first thing this morning by Ornstein. Romano's done a here we go as well. So Anthony to Real Betis is a done deal. That is happening. And thank goodness. Let's be honest with you. Anthony has been one of the worst signings Manchester United have ever made. There were some good moments. I was there for his debut against Arsenal where he scored. Obviously played his part in helping Manchester United to get into the top three and to win that Carabao Cup in his first season. But by and large, a bit of a disastrous signing, if we're going to be brutally honest. We massively overspent on him. I think the fee that Real Betis are paying for him is around what United should have paid for him. We should have paid around 30 million for him. Only then, in the end, I think we paid 80 million with add-ons. I don't know if he achieved any of those add-ons. Just not a good signing at all. He moved on. He had a good spell at Real Betis last season on loan, so I wish him well, and I'm just glad he's moved on, because I don't think he had any future whatsoever at Manchester United. And we were getting to that worrying stage of the window where there's only a day left and you thought, is he going to end up being stuck at Manchester United and just sort of surplus to requirements, part of this so-called bomb squad? So yeah, Anthony has gone. In terms of other players going, there's rumours, reports that Jadon Sancho could be going to Aston Villa. Saw this on Sky this morning. I think Dharmesh Seth is one of the people that's been speaking about this. We're going to be hearing from him later on today. Now, the sort of twisting the tail here is Manchester United are in for Emi Martinez. This has been going on now. Well, it's been going on for about 3 months, but certainly the last couple of days it has gathered momentum. Now, if you saw the interview with Unai Emery before the game between Aston Villa and Crystal Palace yesterday, he was asked about Emi Martinez not being in the Aston Villa squad, and he just kept saying Marco Bizot. I think he was what he kept saying. He was the keeper that stood in for Emi Martinez. So he was being very prickly in his interview at Unai Emery, and he's usually a lot more sort of gregarious than that, innit? Doesn't look like he's staying at Aston Villa when you saw that interview. However, we know that United are still in for Sen Lemens from Antwerp. So I don't know what's going on there in terms of our Manchester United going to get both keepers. Is the priority going to be Martinez? Is it Martinez a backup if Lemens falls through? Is the Lemens deal likely to fall through? There's a few newspapers, I think the Mail have spoken about it. I had it in my news yesterday saying that United are still trying to move forward with the Lemens deal. But if that doesn't happen, then Emi Martinez is going to be backup. But that seems a little bit weird that he's only going to come to United if United don't get the other goalkeeper. Yeah, he's not in the Villa squad, and he's almost burning his bridges at Aston Villa for a move that might not happen. Want to keep an eye on, and we're going to be live throughout the day, so we are going to be keeping you posted on what is happening in terms of United's transfers. But with the Martinez one, it is a bit of a weird one. It looks like it's happening, but then there's that little caveat that maybe it's only going to happen if Lemens doesn't come to Manchester United. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Let us know what you think. Do you think Emi Martinez is the answer to Manchester United problems? We need a goalkeeper. We saw it here at the weekend against Burnley. I know we got the win, but Ali Bayandé didn't have a great game, was at fault for the second goal from Burnley. We saw that Andre Onana had an absolutely disastrous game against Grimsby. It doesn't seem like he's got much of a future here at Manchester United, so we need a new goalkeeper. Is Martinez the answer? Is it Lemens? Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat and the comments. In terms of other incomings, a rumour that's been doing the rounds for the last couple of days is Angelo Stiller from Stuttgart. Now, this came, I think, from a journalist. I think he's Sacho Tagliafieri on Twitter and elsewhere. I'm sure he's not just on Twitter. He was saying that United were in talks to bring in Stiller. Deep line midfielder, could fit in here at Manchester United, could be one of our sixes, I think. But it's been sort of dismissed by a lot of other journalists. I think Fabrizio Romano dismissed it. He said, as far as he's aware, there's been no talks between Manchester United and Stuttgart over the signing of Stiller. No sort of indication whatsoever that Manchester United are in for him. So it does just feel like this journalist, Sacho Tagliafieri, if I'm getting that name right, forgive me if I'm getting it wrong, is the only one running this, and I don't think there's anything in it. I'd be very, very surprised if we saw still a move to Manchester United in the next sort of whatever it is, 10 hours, whatever. It's not even that, is it? About another 8 hours, whatever. So yeah, I don't think there's anything in that at all. That just seems like one journalist who's gone early on it, and not just gone early on it, he's probably just sort of made it up. So it does feel a little bit like literally paper talk. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments if you know much about this kid, if you think we should be going for him, if you think there is anything in it. But when Romano goes out of his way to just say, look, that ain't happening, then I'm inclined to agree, to be honest. I'm inclined to believe him, because he'd at least hedge his bets and go, I'm not hearing anything, but it's a player that Manchester United could be interested in or whatever. He's kind of dismissing it. And all the big guns, the ones that you do rely on, that you do trust, that you do listen to, none of them are running with it at all. So it does feel a little bit like Manchester United just being linked to this story for the sake of some clicks and views rather than anything actually in it. We do want a midfielder here at Manchester United. Everyone I've spoken to, everyone who's in the chat and the comments is probably saying Manchester United need a midfielder. We saw it the weekend as well, where Kobe Mainoo was a player that a lot of people wanted to see in the midfield. He was brought in after a couple of injuries, but we need a midfielder. I think everyone's agreed with that. We were in for Carlos Baleba. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. We've had a couple of injuries in the Burnley game. There's no real update. I think the Evening Standard, London Evening Standard, have given an update of sorts in terms of Mateus Cunha and Mason Mount, who both went off injured. However, the update is pretty meaningless. It doesn't indicate anything. It just says they're both injured and not sure when they're going to be back. So thanks for that. We'll have to wait and see what happens on the injury front. It doesn't look like either are too serious. But regardless of that, Manchester United, better Windy Pops. Manchester United need a goalkeeper. Yes, we do. But we also need a midfielder. Doesn't look like much is happening on the midfield front. We can wait and see. We know we've made some sales now. Obviously, Alejandro Garnacho has gone to Chelsea. Didn't do any post, did he, to say goodbye, thank you to Manchester United. Bit strange considering he's been here since he was, 16? Just sort of spoke about how much he's looking forward to playing for the greatest team in the world or whatever it was he said about them. So no thank you post or goodbye post from Alejandro Garnacho, which is pretty much par for the course of him. There's no love lost, I think, between a lot of Manchester United fans and Alejandro Garnacho, and it is a bit of a shame the way it's panned out. So yeah, Garnacho's gone, Anthony's gone. Can this facilitate a move for a midfielder? Possibly. We'll have to wait and see. As always, we will keep you posted if there are any developments. Now, in terms of the football front, it's been an interesting weekend, hasn't it, this weekend? Because Manchester United got that much-needed win over Burnley. Also, Manchester City lost to Brighton. I think they were winning with it, and then they lost 2-1. And it's quite interesting. I know it's early doors, but City so far this season have lost 2 of the first 3 games. The only win they had, I think, was at Wolves, who were a team many expect to go down. And it just throws up that whole argument, doesn't it, about the criticism or the questions between who is the greatest all-time manager in the Premier League. Is it Pep Guardiola? Is it Sir Alex Ferguson? Now, I'm not saying Pep Guardiola can't be in that conversation just because he's lost 2 football matches this season, but it's an interesting one for me, because when I always talk about Sir Alex Ferguson being the greatest manager the Premier League's ever seen, you always talk about 13 Premier League titles in 20 years. And one of the reasons he was able to win 13 Premier League titles, he was able to keep rebuilding. If you look at the team that he had in 1993 and the team he had in 2013, between the times he won his first Premier League title and his last one, I think there's only Ryan Giggs who was even in the squad, let alone starting for Manchester United. There's also the argument as well that Sir Alex Ferguson inherited a terrible team. Inherited a team that had not won a title for, what was it, 19 years? A team that was right near the bottom of the table, and a team that he had to completely rebuild, and he did. When we won that title, that first title under Sir Alex Ferguson in 1993, there wasn't any players, I think, that he'd inherited. Brian Robson was a substitute at the time. All the players that he had either come through the academy, he'd brought them through the academy, or he'd signed them. He completely built that team to win that title. Now, Pep Guardiola inherited a team that had won 2 titles in the last 4 years. Now, I'm not saying he didn't do well. He did. He did very well. Obviously won a lot of titles, won 4 in a row. Was it 4 or 5? I forget. Let's not dwell on that. It's 4, wasn't it? 4 in a row, won the treble. But he did that by inheriting a very good team and adding to it. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, he's had a lot of success. But is it the same sort of success that Sir Alex Ferguson has had? And is he going to be able to keep rebuilding that? Sir Alex Ferguson, let's not forget, sold 3 of his best players in 1995 in Paul Ince, Andrei Kanchelskis and Mark Hughes, and brought in a load of youngsters and went on to win the treble with 6 academy players. Is Pep Guardiola going to be able to do that at Manchester City? I don't think so. I don't think any manager's going to be able to do that. That's what makes Sir Alex Ferguson such a phenomenon. He kept rebuilding the team. The team that won the title in 93 was almost completely different than the team that won the title in 99. 1 or 2 players there, but not many. And then the team that won that title was almost completely different from the one that won it in 2008 and 2013. He was able to keep rebuilding, and this is where Pep Guardiola is struggling a little bit at the minute. He spent a lot of money this season. I think in the summer he spent around 150 million, bringing in the likes of Ait Nouri, the likes of Shirky, the likes of Rangers, the likes of Stretford as well. but he's finding it difficult after a pretty poor season by Manchester City standards last season, where they lost the second successive FA Cup final, didn't win a trophy, and struggled in the league. So it'll be interesting to see how Pep Guardiola does this season. Can he regain that title? Can he rebuild this team? And can he do what Sir Alex Ferguson kept doing, and that's rebuilding your team and getting them to win title after title after title? That's why, for me, Sir Alex Ferguson is the greatest manager of all time. Let me know what you think. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to be back later on today. We've got the Paddock podcast. We've also got an interview with Dan Mesef. Plus, we're going to be we're going to be live for the close of the transfer window from around 6:30 till 7:15 as well. So make sure you're getting involved in that. I've been Jay Motti. This has been the Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.